What's up, guys? Welcome back to another episode of Browns Talk. This week we got the Jaguars, week 12. Currently we're 7-3. They're 1-9. I think their record's a little bit of a trap. Like, they've got some pretty close games, and the one game they did win was against the Colts, who, we were all talking about. It's a really good thing we beat the Colts because they're a good team, so that definitely means something. And they came close on the Titans. I think they were 3 points away from beating the Titans. And, yeah, within, two scores, really, of the Bengals. Some rough ones here for sure, but within distance of the Texans and won by 2 points, within distance of the Packers, who's a really good team. So it's definitely not a game to completely sleep on for sure. But let's get into the details here. For one thing, they just lost 2 receivers to injuries this week. And they're going to have a quarterback in who it's going to be his first start with them this year. And he's 6-16 in his career. And there's not really much to speak of there. So that's going to play well for us because the receivers were already having a hard time because the quarterbacks weren't used to him, and you've got new quarterbacks in there and stuff because they've been playing Luton, and he was throwing some bad balls, and that's just going to get worse when you're missing receivers and you've got a different quarterback in again, so definitely things to think about. Obviously, we're hurt by injuries. We got Miles out, we got Denzel out, we got Taki out, Sheldrick Redwine's out, Andy Janovich is out, Joe Jackson's out, Porter Gustin's out. So we're missing multiple defensive ends, which is not great, but I think it's manageable. And then Teller and Sandejo and Harris are all questionable. Harris shouldn't really matter that much. We've got Hubbard back in case Teller is hurt, but he was questionable last week too, and they were just kind of resting him because his calf was bothering him and he was sore. So he'll probably play. And if Sandejo doesn't play, I mean, it's not great, honestly, just because Sheldrick's out too and Denzel's out. So we're going to have a bunch of people without a communication continuity in there. But hopefully Sandejo will be all right. I didn't think I'd be saying that this season. So let's get into it. Offense first, as usual. The best group that they have on defense is the linebackers. Their line is kind of beat up and not really super duper reliable, and their secondary is questionable. So I think we do all right here. Even with OBJ out, which obviously still sucks, our receivers are going to be better than the Packers core, who struggled against them just because Aaron Rodgers really kind of had an off day, honestly. But, still, they won that game. And our, group, I think, depth-wise, is probably better than the Packers, even though they still have their, number one receiver and we don't. Still, depth-wise, I think we've got a stronger core there. And outside of that one example, and then the Bengals, they haven't faced super duper good ones. I guess the Steelers too. So they've had 3 teams that were decent and receivers, and they've lost all those games. So I'm confident in that. They've kind of had a rough schedule in the sense that they've played pretty decent quarterbacks this whole year. So we'll have to hope Baker steps up and does his thing now that he's playing out of the bad weather and has a good game, because most of their games, they've played pretty good quarterbacks this year, actually pretty much all of them, and we're going to need Baker to fulfill that role this week. Like I said, I think he's done good, 2 out of really all those weeks. Really the one super down week he had, it was mostly drops from the receiver, so I think he's been doing pretty good in the bad weather. Hopefully this good weather lets him get back to that Bengals form where he threw 5 touchdowns and put the game on his back. So we need him to step up. And honestly, their linebackers are decent. They've got Joe Schobert and Miles Jack back there. So they're definitely not slouching there. But that being said, I don't think that just your linebacking core is going to be able to, especially the way that they kind of bite on play action, stop Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt. So I think Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt are going to have a good day. that should help Baker be able to have a good day as well, especially with the weather being all right. We just need Hodge, Higgins, or Jarvis, any of them to just step up and have a decent day, and we'll be all right. Hooper, anybody. I mean, we've got the weapons there, so I think the run game's going to go really well. Again, not super surprising with the running backs we got back there. It sucks having Janovich out, but whatever. We've dealt with it last week and had plenty of success in the second half running, so we can definitely get over that. And I think the running game doing super good is going to help Baker have a good game. So we'll see what happens there, but I think we'll probably be back to our early season form here, even without having OBJ and putting up a lot of points this game. Even though we haven't the last few games, I think it's about time. So I think we'll probably put up a decent amount of points this game, and it's going to be kind of on their offense to keep up with us. And let's talk about that. Let's get to the defense. So obviously with the defense, the main thing is going to be the people we don't have. We're down Myles Garrett and we're down Denzel Ward. Obviously the best two players on our defense. Myles Garrett's arguably the best player as a force for how much of the defense he carries. The best defensive player in the year of any player on any team. So you're hurting a lot right there. Taki's out because of COVID and he just had a good game for us. And then we're down Joe Jackson too. So, possibly Sandejo, and we're out Sheldrick Wedwin. So, that's going to be the big problem, obviously. That being said, with them having receivers down and having a new quarterback in, we're still going to have Money Mitch. We'll still have Kevin Johnson out there. We've got Carl Joseph, Ronnie Harrison with the revenge, chip on his shoulder here. I think we'll be all right in the secondary, even with all those injuries. And then defensive line, we're missing some guys depth-wise, and then obviously Miles, but we'll have still Claiborne and Vernon, and then Ogunjobi and Sheldon Richardson. So those four, if they just played the way they did last week, we'll be fine. So really, we just kind of need those four guys on the line to do a decent job. Having Taki out because of his inconsistency shouldn't be a huge deal because we still got Malcolm Smith, Mac Wilson, and BJ Goodson. So with those guys out there, I think we'll be all right. You let Jordan Phillips get in there some, and I think the secondary kind of is going to be all right, even though it sucks to not have Denzel because you already are missing Greedy, so your two corners are both out. We'll hope Denzel gets back quick, and I think that this is a good time for him to be out for this game. Hopefully next game he's back. If not, that's going to suck because we're playing the Titans next game, but at least Miles will be back, which will take some pressure off the secondary, having Miles back. If the line can keep playing like they played last week with Miles in, that's enough right there. So we'll see what happens there. So, yeah, good weather it looks like. Maybe not. It seems up in the air a little bit, but hopefully that leads to the offense putting up a lot of points. I have a good feeling about that. I really think they will. I don't think that the Jags have faced a running game quite like ours and are going to have a hard time handling it. They've bottled up some things so far there, but I don't think they're ready for Nick Chubb and Kareem Hunt to be just barreling at you for 4 quarters. And I think the effect that that's going to have on them will help Baker do really well off the play action like he usually does. He's really good in play action, and there's a reason that they use it. When you've got backs like that, why wouldn't you? So I'm thinking we take this one pretty good. We've had close games a lot, so I haven't been predicting anything super crazy, but I think we win this one, by a good 2 scores. I'm thinking, 34 maybe. A good 4 touchdowns, 2 field goals probably. Yeah. That seems pretty good. 34. Thinking we're going to get, 4 touchdowns and then 2 field goals. And then because that kind of happens. We just stall out sometimes, and we're gonna get a field goal. That happens. I think we had 34. I think they probably have like a 10. I think we kind of run away with this one a little bit. I think that they're turnover heavy, and we like turnovers on defense. Sometimes, and there are some games where we don't get any, but when we get them, we usually get a few of them. So I think we get some turnovers. I think it kind of, the offense carries this one mostly. I think the defense will hold, and the offense will keep them off the field so much that they'll be all right. So we're going to hope the offense carries this one, like what the film is showing me and what I'm seeing, and we'll hope to be 8-3, which, man, it's going to feel good. All right. Thanks for listening, everybody. I'll have a review video up after the game, either Sunday night or Monday. And then I'm working on another highlight video right now that should be out, sometime this week, probably the middle of the week, hopefully. And then we'll be back for another review video around Friday, Saturday, something like that. All right. Have a good night, everybody. Thanks for listening, and go Browns.